Hi, I'm Miriam Smout, Aka Redemption Mumma. I love helping women heal deep wounds, reclaim their personal power and get back that unlock that God-given destiny. I love helping them get back things that they've lost. And I lost a lot myself during the years that I've navigated life. A lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointment. Like everyone, no one I know has got this magic pill that keeps them free of not having to deal with stuff in life. But like most of us, it's hard to know how to deal with that stuff. Well, for me, one of the critical things was learning about the wounds on my heart, the heart wounds. You know, when someone hurts you and you kind of get a stab or a jab, it lands on your heart. Now, if that was happening in the physical and something was causing your heart to be wounded and not function as it was created to, would you do nothing about it? Would you just hope it was okay? Would you just ignore it? And yet we do that emotionally when our hearts get wounded. Our hearts get wounded through words or actions, betrayal, toxic relationships. When our hearts get wounded in these ways, we often ignore it, we suppress it. The emotional doesn't seem to call out to us quite as loudly as maybe a physical wound or a physical heart issue might. I want to really challenge that thinking. I want to challenge that concept, because for me, I was one of those women who just suppressed, ignored, went on, just kept going, hoping that I was going to hold it together long enough to get through whatever was coming at me. Heart wounds are something that I teach about, and I work with women through spirit-led teaching and spirit-led heart encounters. It's a very intuitive process, and this is what I believe heart wounds are.
Heart wounds are the life issues, the pain, the disappointments that end up sitting on our heart and becoming something that we carry like a black spot, like a dark spot. Every time a new one lands on us or hits us, another black spot appears, and they grow and they grow and they grow. And if we do nothing about them, they just keep growing until we decide at some point that we can't tolerate it anymore and it's just got to be too much. Often it takes a really severe tipping point for us to get to that place. But once we do get to that place and we learn how to deal with them, and we learn that we don't have to carry them, and if we have a process, we have a way to manage them and bring healing to them, then we can actually start eliminating them and removing them and taking action so that those heart wounds are no longer that black spot, that hurt, that wound. That can be a very dark, heavy, difficult thing to carry. That's the process that's the concept of heart wounds. I see them like black spots that attach to our heart, and with nothing happening and nothing being done about them, then we end up in trouble. Now, often thoughts are the thing that start this whole process off, and then of course it feeds to a feeling. The feelings, they get overwhelming and they can become more than we can actually manage. So once that thought has triggered a feeling, it's very likely then that we're going to start acting and behaving in ways that maybe we might not have if we had done something about those thoughts and those feelings. So the thoughts trigger the feelings trigger the actions, or the thoughts and the feelings trigger the actions. But something I learnt is there is actually another precursor to our thoughts, a part that really has been very powerful for me, and that's the memories. I've come to learn that The memories are the thing that really trigger the thoughts and the feelings, and then, of course, the actions as well. When we don't get to the memory and we just deal with the thought or we just deal with the feeling, we don't bring healing to it. We end up in that rinse and repeat cycle. And the rinse and repeat cycle will continue until we get to the memory or maybe the heart wound that is associated with an experience, a trauma, a pain, a disappointment, a life challenge. Once we get to bring healing to the memories, then we can actually do an incredibly beautiful process of bringing our thoughts and our feelings and our actions into alignment. And that is incredibly powerful.
If you have an inkling that maybe there's some wounds on your heart, then what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to keep hoping it goes away? Are you going to just keep hoping that it's not going to impact you down the line? I want to challenge that thought, because those heart wounds, as I mentioned, come from the memories. They come from the memories way, way back, sometimes decades ago, that actually can be quite hard to connect into today because we forgot about it. It happened a long time ago. So it's easy to kind of keep pushing it down. But what I've experienced, and many of the women that I work with, I notice have experienced, is that in your 40s and your 50s, and me now in my 60s, there comes a point where it's really hard to keep pushing those things down. They're a bit like toxic waste, and they work their way to the surface like the nuclear waste does and did in the city of Chernobyl, where they buried it under the ground. 30 or 40 years later, it came up to the surface and started to manifest and hurt and wound and kill people in that city. Now, that's what I believe that toxic emotions are like. Those wounds on our heart, they're toxic, and they're going to make their way up to the surface at some point, and usually at a point that is most inconvenient, not quite what you anticipate or expect. They catch you off guard. Now, if you've got no process to deal with that, if you've got no way to step yourself up and out of that manifestation, that toxic stuff coming to the surface in your life, then I want to challenge you to download a copy of my 5 steps. Those are the 5 steps that I've used to really bring healing to the wounds on my heart. Join in the 6-week workshop that I offer, which is called the 5 Steps to Emotional Healing. It's a 6-week workshop, very affordable, very accessible. And in that, I take you through the process of heart encounters. Heart encounters are beautiful, divine, magical, sacred moments where you can truly connect with your heart and hear what your heart is needing in terms of healing and wholeness from the inside out. These heart encounters are so powerful, and you'll find testimonials on this channel of women who have encountered those and experienced those heart encounters. And I'm going to start adding more and more of those as beautiful women are willing and allow me to share their stories. So, heart wounds. Are you carrying a few? Can you see a few black spots on your heart? Are there a few places that might need a bit of healing? Your call, your choice. You get to choose. Are you just going to keep hoping they go away and they're not going to come to the surface at some point? Or are you going to take action and do something about it? That's my challenge to you.